Why does Deadpool look like a human burger? What are the limits and capabilities of his healing factor? How to kill Deadpool? You will find the answer to these and many other questions in today's video. The charming Mercenary, whose body is one big cancerous tumor, thanks to his regenerative healing factor, was able to recover from the most deadly injuries. He managed to receive lethal head injuries, lose limbs, be torn to pieces, beheaded, and the only one who was shot at more than Deadpool was 50 Cent. Today we will talk about Wade Wilson's anatomy, healing factor, and its limits. Even before he became the healing machine and a pain in the ass of superheroes and villains, Deadpool had very good makings. While still in the army, his superiors described him as a sharp shooter with an excellent tactical mind. After the army, Deadpool chose a path strewn with mountains of corpses, and becoming a mercenary became famous in very narrow circles. What distinguished him from other sellers of death was his special approach to business. Money was not important. What was principal was a worthwhile goal, the elimination of which would make this world a little better. In fact, Deadpool became the first mercenary who was not hired for money. But everything changed dramatically when Wade learned that he had cancer. He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, which meant that malignant processes can affect any organs and systems, and then spread through the blood and lymph throughout the body, causing the appearance of new foci of the disease there. Wilson later moves to Canada, where he encounters a government organization developing a superweapon. Agents invite Wade to become part of their excremental program, during which the man can cure cancer. So Wilson becomes a member of the Weapon X program, which will radically change his life once and for all. Scientists integrated an experimental healing factor into Wilson's DNA, obtained from another test subject, who turned out to be the mutant Wolverine. However, the experiment was not as successful as everyone wanted. Scientists even tried to get rid of an agent that stood out too much from the rest. First, they shot off his fingers, which grow back in the blink of an eye, and then they try to incinerate him with a flamethrower. But no matter how radical the injury, after regeneration, Deadpool still looked like a human hamburger. For this reason, he was sent to the prison of failed medical experiments, but he found a way out and escaped. After escaping, he returned to mercenary activities, but now Deadpool was out of competition. To hide his ugliness, the mercenary began to wear a mask. One of his first tasks was to eliminate Cable. How symbolic, because in Deadpool 2 it was Cable who became his first serious superhero threat. And in the end, they became friends. During the experiment, the regenerative abilities merged with cancer cells, thereby disfiguring Wilson's entire body, turning him into one big cancerous tumor. Deadpool is a real walking paradox. Only the simultaneous presence of cancer mixed with a healing factor allows him to be alive. A sort of yin and yang without which Deadpool cannot exist. The comic clearly states that if one of the two components is removed, then Deadpool will die. His cancer is like fuel for his regenerative factor. You could say that Deadpool is dying every second from an aggressive disease, but thanks to an insanely strong healing factor, he is still standing. In the comics, there were situations where some characters tried to literally steal his healing factor, not taking into account the fact that this ability was tailored specifically to the needs of the test subject. But since the kidnappers were healthy, the stolen ability literally destroyed them. By regenerating, Deadpool restores not living flesh but cancerous tissue. It is for this reason that Wade only grew mutilated flesh. By the way, the evil version of the mercenary is proof of the incredible regeneration of the talkative mercenary. In fact, these are severed body parts of a mercenary that have merged together and become an even crazier version of the character with 2 right hands. As it turned out, the regeneration time depends not only on the severity of the injury, but also on Deadpool's psychological state. And this is not surprising, because the emotional state greatly affects hormonal levels. To confirm this, the comic showed the moment when a handsome man appeared under the mask of Deadpool. It is established that his appearance never changes for a purely psychological reason, related to his self-esteem and low opinion of himself. The fact is that all this time the mercenary was reproaching himself for the atrocities of the past, and his internal conflict with himself was reflected on his face. Ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside. His time with Spider-Man helped him gain confidence, which in turn fixed his face for a while. Due to numerous and very serious head injuries, especially brain damage, Deadpool has memory gaps. He very often gets confused in his own memories, and this is not surprising because brain damage can lead to personality disorder and amnesia. Without anchors in the form of memories, due to constant head injuries, during which cognitive pathways are constantly rewritten, Deadpool suffers from various mental disorders, including bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, given his intense anti-hero lifestyle. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now imagine that after serious injuries to his body, especially his head, this person recreates himself from fragments, his physical and mental being. His craving for violence and unstable emotional state most likely had a strong impact on the Venom symbiote. When Deadpool got ahead of Spider-Man and donned the symbiotic suit, he felt that this creature was alive, and he decided to leave him so as not to spoil his psyche. By the way, if you are surprised by his face without flaws in these frames, it's because Deadpool has been temporarily healed. Well, now let's talk specifically about the injuries that the talkative mercenary managed to survive. About 100 bullets were put into his body. Fractures, pieces of reinforcement, the presence of which slowed down regenerative abilities, loss of a hand, loss of half of the torso. Regeneration of lost body parts occurs in 2 stages, which can be seen in these frames. Even severe brain injuries, a drain cleaner, a jump from a high-rise building, an aggressive bear, and even explosion that blew his body to pieces cannot destroy Deadpool. In the comics, he returns to the desired condition much faster. He was torn to pieces, recovered from a pile of ashes, survived the blow of the Hulk. But still, regeneration has its limits. In the second part of Deadpool, it became clear that with the help of collars, special force limiters, one can turn off regenerative abilities. Wade was then in great pain as the cancer began to overwhelm him again. In the comics, Wade's body is extremely resistant to various poisons, alcohol, and tranquilizers. A huge dose of these substances is needed for them to have any effect on Wilson's body. A dosage intended to kill 25 elephants can knock out Deadpool for only 1 hour. Due to his unstable cellular structure, Wilson is immune to telepathy. To be sure to kill Deadpool, you need to do the following. 1. Remove the healing factor. 2. Remove cancer. 3. Or worsen the course of the disease. In the latest comic book adventure of Deadpool and Wolverine, it is revealed that Deadpool's cancer was supercharged, 10,000 times more virulent, which negated his healing factor, since he could no longer cope with such a huge load. This means that Deadpool has become mortal, and will no longer be able to heal as well as before. And that's all I have for today. I look forward to seeing you in the next issues.